Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we will discuss about the actions. Actions are available in the managed and unmanaged in both the scenarios. If you know actions in managed, you can implement in the non-managed as well. So before starting first, what we will understand that what is action basically. We have standard operations like the create, update, delete and modify. These are the standard operations are available for that particular business object entity. Apart from this standard operations, we have some other operations also. We call them non-standard operations. The non-standard operations like the one we are going to discuss, actions and the function. What is the use of the non-standard operations? Without going to the create, update and delete state, we want to modify the state of that particular business object. For example, I am in front end, I am opening one travel instance. Without going to the edit mode, I just want to change that status of that particular travel instance from the open to reject or open to approve. Something I want to do without going to the edit mode based on some button. Or not only from the front end, I want to modify that particular business object from the some other business object without going to the without executing the create, update and delete, modify EML statement. I want to do using that the actions, that also possible. So actions are useful if you want to modify the state of the business object without going to the modifiable mode. So this is very important. And the actions are the part of the business object. We will define those actions in the behavior definitions and we will implement those actions in our behavior pool classes. There are three kind of actions are there. First is the non-factory actions, factory actions and the save actions. These are the each one have the different use cases. For example, factory actions, when we want to create the new BU instance based on the existing BU instance, or just we want to create the new BU instance, that time we will use the factory actions. But non-factory actions are useful if you just want to change the existing instance of the business object. And the save actions, these are the actions will be triggered only during the save sequences. Save sequence, when our saver class will be executed, during that time only it will execute. It will not execute during the interaction phase. Those are called the save actions. We will talk about the non-factory and factory and save actions more in this slide. So first we will discuss about the factory actions. So the factory actions, you can see there, these are the different characteristics are available. The factory actions can be internal. What I mean by the internal, but by default factory actions can be called from the some front end also you can call, or some other business object you want to call this business object factory actions, that also it is possible. Non-factory action, sorry, it is possible. But if you want to create one actions which can be called within that particular business object only, it can't be called from the front end or some other business object. So that time we will define as an internal factory actions. Basically internal factory actions we will call using the determinations. During the determination we call internally these kind of actions based on some conditions. These are called the internal, and some of the actions we can define as the static. By default that particular actions is the instance actions. Instance actions means it can be belong to the any instance of the particular business object. For example, in our case we have the travel entity. In the travel entity we have the multiple travel instances. For example, 5001, 5002, 5000, these are the travel instances. Particular actions can be belong to the particular instance, then it will call the instance action. But that one particular action should not belong to the particular instance of that particular business object. Instead of it is belong to the entire business object, then we call this static. It's the same way. If you understand, if you know the classes static and instance object of that particular class, the same way we can have the instance and static actions of that particular business object. So you can relate that. And the same the particular business, a particular class instance, when we create the class instance, it will particularly belong to that particular instance, but the static variables or static methods belong to that particular entire class. In the same way we can relate the This static and instance actions is a from that particular BO. In the same way we can relate. There are some of the actions are the repeatable. The repeatable actions can be executed multiple times for the particular business object, but or we can say RAP business object in same EML statement we can say, or same OData request. We can execute again and again same with the different parameter we can pass. So that is the reason the repeatable actions always have the content ID, because if we are calling multiple time same instance, that particular instance, then we have to say, differentiate between the multiple calls. So we will do using the CID. So repeatable actions we have the CID. You will see, we will go in the implementation part of this particular actions. The next is the feature control. The features can be applied, feature control can be applied on the standard operation as well and the non-standard operation as well. What is the use of the features control means? Based on some condition, I want to enable and disable the standard and non-standard operations. The standard operations create, update, delete, or non-standard operation actions and functions. If I want to enable and disable based on some conditions particular action, then I can use the feature control as well. So features are used to enable and disable based on some preconditions. So features can be belong to the instance and global, both instance, then the precondition will be the within the business object we can apply, and global means external some condition is applied, then it will be enabled and disabled based on some condition. As of now you can understand, we will go in detail and when we implement this all the things. Now we will discuss about the pre-checks. Pre-checks is available again for the standard and non-standard operations. Whenever any operation is called, before that I want to check some data in application buffer, or if I want to validate something, then we will use the pre-check methods. So that also we will implement. Pre-checks can be, in this case we are discussing about the actions, it is available for the function as well, or standard operation in unmanaged scenario also the pre-checks are available. For example, we will use the pre-checks in the unmanaged scenario when we create the new instance. When we create the new instance in the managed scenario, it's created by the framework create, update and delete, but in the unmanaged scenario we'll do our own create. Before doing that create, we will do that pre-check that the particular BO instance is already created in the system. For example, particular business travel ID is already created in the system or not, then we will go and create. But in our case, in the managed scenario, it is doing by the system, we don't need to apply pre-check, or framework is automatically applying those pre-checks. But in the unmanaged scenario, we have to apply this pre-checks. This is the one example of the pre-checks. We can do the pre-check for the actions as well. Authorization for the actions. So authorization we can enable and disable if we want, as per our requirement. For example, if you specify authorization none, there will be no authorization perform when you execute that particular action. You can delegate the authorization object either to the update global instance or the local instance. For example, whenever I execute these actions, whatever the authorization is defined for my update operation, same authorization I want to define for this particular action, then I can give the authorization update. It will delegate the authorization to the update authorization. In the same way, we can do authorization global and authorization instance as well. It will delegate your authorization when we execute the particular action, then the authorization of global authorization, whatever we have defined, that will be checked, then the actions will be executed. Or in the instance case, for instance authorization, whatever we have defined for that particular, but in the behavior definition, that will be checked, then this particular action will be performed. So this is how the authorization, either we can use none or we can delegate the authorization in update, global or instance as per our requirement. Or we want to check both global and instance, that also we can do. We can give the comma separated list here, and we can check not only global but also instance authorization before calling this particular action. There is something called lock none. Lock none is used whenever I want to perform this particular actions. I don't want to lock that particular business object entity. In that case, we will use the lock none. What is the real-time use case? When, for example, I want in the factory actions, this is not in non-factory action, factory actions, whenever I am creating the new instances based on the existing instances, then I don't want to lock the existing instances. So in that case, we will use lock none, because when we, for example, I want to copy the travel instances. I select one travel and click on the copy travel button. It will trigger one actions in backend copy travel. In that case, I don't want to lock that particular instance which I am copying, because I want to lock. I don't want to lock that particular, because based on that I want to create another one. I'm just taking the data from that one. So that in that case we will use the lock none. And finally, we can give the actions name, what action you want to perform, and you want to give some external name, that also you can give the external name which will be visible to the auditor service. And along with that, we can give some importing parameter and exporting parameter as per our requirement. So importing parameter and exporting parameter we will discuss more when we will really develop this particular RAP actions. So now we will talk about little bit more about the factory actions. Most of the things are similar. So factory actions are used to create the new RAP BU. If you want to create the new BU instance, as I told you, if you want to modify the existing instances, those are non-factory. Factory means if you want to create new BU instances, it can be possible two way. One way is instant bound and another way is the static bound. Instance bound will, what it will do, it will copy the existing BU instance and it will create new BU instance. And the static bound, based on some default values which you have already some BU, that will take a reference and it will create based on that new BU. Then we call that static factory actions. Static bound also we will call. Now how it is the different from the non-factory actions? The first thing, the output parameter are not allowed for this particular factory actions, because output parameter is already defined. We want to create the new BU instance. So what is the BU instance? New BU instance will be the output parameter. And second thing, it is mandatory to specify the cardinality. So you can see the cardinality is mandatory. Whatever in the black you can see, it is mandatory, and we have to specify the cardinality as a 1, because it is always it is mandatory to specify the cardinality must always be 1, because it will always return one instance in case of the factory, the one BO object in case of the factory actions. So these are the some of the things you have to remember. The result of the factory actions is returned in the map, because we are creating the new instance. The CID will be created, the new CID will be already we have, with respect to that CID we have to map some key field and we have to return in the map apart from the result also. So output parameter, I didn't tell you, output parameter we always return after the result. Whatever we will specify, that will be the output parameter. That we will see anyway in the implementation part, but this is the theory part. You should understand what is this actions, what all are the different kind of actions are available, what all are the characteristic we can define for that particular action, that we have to see. The last but not least, the save actions. As I told you, this will always trigger during the save sequence, not in the interaction phase. So save sequence also we have to define the during which saver method it should trigger. It should trigger during the saver method of the finalize, or during the saver method of the adjust number. That we have to define after the save. We have to define when should trigger, then we have to give the action name. So that we will define using, or if you want to trigger that particular save action in the both the scenario, that also we can do finalize and adjust number. Other things are similar for that particular RAP save sequence, save actions as well. So this is all theory about the actions. We can talk more theory. There are a lot of other things also there, but these things you should know before you are developing any actions. Basic things you should know before you are developing any actions. So these all things we will see in my upcoming video, in managed also and unmanaged also. So this I clubbed all theory together. This is applicable for managed and unmanaged. And one more important thing, this all things RAP actions can be defined in your base definition, behavior definitions, and it can be projected further. If you want to use that those actions, you have to use keyword, and that you have to define the actions, and you can define the new actions also in your projection entity. Then you have to implement there also. That scenario also possible. There are a lot of things are possible, but we will try to see as much is in this RAP series is in the different scenarios. Managed scenarios, some of the things I will explain, and in unmanaged scenario also some of the things I will explain. If you remember from my last video, we have created this travel app for the processor and approver. We have already created the app for the processor, but yet to create for the approver. Processor, what he can do, he can create the new travel instance, modify existing instances, and update something if he want to update. The approver, what he can do, once the processor created the travel instance, he will see the data. He will not able to modify, but he will see the data, and he, based on the observations and based on the data, he will approve and reject the particular travel instance. For doing that thing, approver to accepting and rejecting that particular travel instance, so we need some actions. So we will see here what approver will do. Approval will be having only two buttons now. Approver will not have the create, update or delete button here. He will be having two buttons, only accept and reject travel button. For doing that, we have to create new applications on top of our base behavior definitions. What we will do, we will, on top of our base behavior definition, we will do the projection. In the projection, we will not give any facility to the create, update and delete. We just give this action, approve and reject actions. Based on that approver can approve, either he can approve or he can reject that particular travel instance. This application yet to create, and we have to create obviously service and service binding for this particular application as well, and we have to give this option. Since this particular travel and reject actions are performing on particular instance, so that is the reason it is called the instance actions. So that is, we can say, instance actions. And one more thing, we are not creating any, through this action we are not creating any new business object. So that is the reason it is non-factory actions. Instance action or non-factory actions, we are gonna see using this particular approver application. So first we will implement in behavior definition, then we will create new application as well. This is the one actions we are gonna do. Second action, copy travel actions. This will be factory actions. Using these actions, we are gonna create new travel instance. What we will do, we will select the existing travel instance, then we will click on copy travel button. This will internally trigger one action called the copy travel, and it will copy all the travel booking and booking supplement data and create the new instance. Since it is creating the new instance, this we have to use the factory action for that. And second thing, it will always return, in this case it will always return the same BU instance. It will return the newly created BU instance. Since it is returning something BU instances, so this particular travel app will traverse from this particular screen to the object page, where in the editable mode of the travel, where we can see the travel and booking detail, you can go further drill down and you can see the booking supplement detail. Not only you can see, you can change there also, because it will be in the edit mode, because you have created just now using the actions. But in the previous case, it is returning as a result self instance. It is returning. We are selecting, as soon as you click on accept or reject button, it will return the same instance which you have called on which you have called this particular reject and accept button. Since it is returning the same instance, in this case screen will not get changed. So that's very important. Here you are returning the newly created BU instance, that is the reason screen getting changes. In previous scenario, we are returning the self instance, it is not changing the screen. These are the two actions we have to create, one for the approver, accept, reject, and one for the processor. So he can easily create new travel based on the existing travel, copy the data, then modify, and then he can save and create new travels as per his requirement. The third one is the action recalculate total price. This one we will be needing internally. Whenever as soon as any price change, either our booking fee got changed, or the flight price got changed, or the booking supplement price got changed, any of three things got changed, that time we have to trigger this particular action, and we have to calculate the total price field and update internally. So how it will be called? Through the determination. What we will do, as soon as the price will change in any one of the entities, travel booking or booking supplement, this determination automatically called, and inside the determination we will call this action internally and calculate the total price and update internally. It will not return anything. Since it is not returning anything, we will not change any front end screen. It will remain on the same screen because it is triggering internally. And one more thing, since it is the internal actions, neither we can trigger from the front end, or nor we can call from directly. We can call from the outer, we can say from another business object. If the another business object modifying the price, that time it will internally called, since it is internal action. But directly, if some other business object directly want to call, we will get dumped. We will not able to call directly this particular action recalculate total price. So these are the three actions we are gonna develop in this application. So without wasting the time, let's jump into the system. One by one, we will create all the three actions in our behavior definition, and we will see the result in our projection as well. To create these three actions, first we will modify our behavior definitions. So we have to define our all three actions in the behavior definition. Then we have to project those in the projection. Not only we have to define, we have to implement these actions in our behavior pool class as well. So let's define first action called. So defining the action, we have to use the action keyword. Then we have to give the action name. In this case, first one is the accept travel. This is my action name. Then you have to define the result in the exporting parameter, and along with the cardinality. In this case, result is 1, cardinality 1. I want to return the self instance, so that is the reason you have to use $self. So this is with the cardinality 1. This is my action, so you have to use the obviously semicolon. Same way we have to define the reject travel also. For that, Control Alt arrow down button, instead of accept we have to write just reject. The third one, we need to define the copy travel. To the copy travel, since it is the factory, so we have to write the factory keyword first, and we have to give the action, and action name will be the copy travel. In this case, we no need to define the return, because explicitly it will return the view object, but we have to define, as I told you, mandatorily cardinality. So that is required. So this will become my second action, will be the factory action. The third one will be for the calculating for the price. That will be the internal action. So we have to use the keyword called internal, then we have to write action, then action name. In this case, so we have to give some meaningful name, recalc total price, in this case, we don't have importing and exporting parameter, so let it leave it, and we don't want to navigate from one screen to another screen, so let it leave it. So this is the way we have defined 2 instance action, 1 factory action, and 1 internal actions. We have defined these actions, but we have to implement these actions as well, the code behind these particular actions. To do that, just you have to click on Control 1 for the accept travel. So you want to add all 4 method, all 4 travel, or only you want to add for the accepted. I just want to add for all the 4 actions, all the methods. Just click on that one. It will automatically create in your, if you go here, so you can see it already created copied travel, accept travel, copy travel, recalculate travel, and reject travel. So this is the way it's already created this all the 4 methods. So we are getting the error here. The error is called this particular does not have any actions. Why we are getting this error? Because we didn't activated our behavior definition. So let me activate Control F3. Now my behavior definition got activated. Let me do here Shift F1. So you can see now error got removed since I have defined these actions, and these all 4 actions have their own method. One is the accept travel, reject travel, recalculate total price, and the copy travel. In this video we have discussed about the actions, which is non-standard operation, and what all are the different kind of actions are available, or what all are the different characteristics we can implement for that particular action. Not only that, we have defined for our managed applications 3 actions. One is copy travel, accept reject travel, and recalculate travel price. We just defined that in the behavior definition. The implementation part of this particular 3 actions we will do in my next video. Before going to next video, please like this video, share this video with others as well, and whatever you are feeling about this video, please write it down in comment section. With that, thank you and happy learning.